number 3 anyway. But I just want to tell you how I ended up where I am. By the way, there's the Wi-Fi stuff. So you need to get on the internet to do what we're going to do later. So if you don't have it, that's how you get on the internet here. So let me make this one big for a while. All right. So I taught normal classes like Microsoft certification and Cisco certification and stuff, and these have homework projects that tell you what to do at a certain level. And the problem is student diversity. I have a lot of classes, like what I'm going to have here, that are pretty much just random people. Some of them are experts, some are just beginners, some have unusual kinds of skills, like they go into hacker spaces and they're sort of a self-trained expert in some specialty, or they used to be a computer expert 20 years ago and now they're way out of date. So all these people are in the same class. And I had to get over organized education like I used to do it, where I'd have a math class that takes you to a certain point. My students all start from different points and they all end at different points. My only goal now is to make sure that they all make some progress. From wherever they are, I'm hoping to move them a few steps forward. So the clue here is I have some step-by-step projects that tell you exactly what to do that anybody can do if you can read English and follow some terms. Then I have a series of challenges with no instructions and increasing difficulty, like CTFs, because this I think is the best way. Everybody should be able to do something. And they should see something ahead of them that's not too much harder, because I remember as a kid playing video games, people will spend 1,000 hours and get great at this thing if you make it fun to do every step forward. And so that's my goal. And one of the first things that happened was another teacher told me about this book, Violet Python, which teaches you to be a very bad coder. Instead of writing code that catches all the errors and handles all the exceptions, never crashes, you write really sloppy, lousy code that does one job and crashes if it fails, and you fix it till it works once and then you're done, because we're hackers. We're breaking into something. We're not making Microsoft Office to sell 1 million copies. So if you want to write sloppy code that just breaks in, you don't have to bother doing anything very much right by the standpoint of coding. So you can go to a simple login page like this, and if you open it in Wireshark, login is just about 8 lines of plain text to send up to a server. You have to have only the parts in red are what you need. You send up a username and password. So you can very easily write your own tool to do this. Now there are tools you can use that somebody else has written, like Hydra, but if you want to move beyond being a person that uses tools created by other people and start writing your own tools, you don't need to be a very good programmer. You just need to be able to write very simple scripts, and you're much more powerful than people that can't program at all. So this is the program that does that login. It's really about 12 lines of Python. You just define a socket, you open it up on port 80, and then you just send that text up there, and then you feed in these variables, username and password, so now you can do a brute force attack or a dictionary attack and send a list of passwords up there until you get in, and you didn't have to rely on someone else to write a tool for you. So then I give them a variety of challenges. Here's where you have 4 usernames and 100 possible passwords. And the gotcha on this one is they have to figure out how to do loops, and then they're going to find out the hard way that a default Apache server will only let you send 100 requests per connection before you have to disconnect and try again. So if you get smart and do all 400 in a loop, it will fail. It's much better to be dumb and just do the loop of 100 and do the names one at a time. You'll get to the end sooner. But that's a little bit of thing for them to learn about. And then I got another one after it where I don't give you much of a clue what the usernames or the passwords are. What you have to do is you have to take the real names and try to figure out what pattern leads to the usernames. And when you guess, you'll get error messages that are overly informative that you have to deduce what the structure is, how long things are from that, which is a little more realistic. And that's where I started, making a series of projects that work like this. And then came Heartbleed. Heartbleed was the most exciting thing in years in this business, although Imagemagick is pretty close too. But I mean, Heartbleed was before this. There's something I used to hear at security conventions and everywhere. Linux is more secure than Windows. Well, those guys have just shut up since April 2014, because every Linux machine in the world was just leaking out the secrets, and Apple and Microsoft are safe. And these guys are saying, you know, if you guys would just pay money for your software, this stuff wouldn't happen to you. And that appears to be kind of true. Anyway, the point is, I and everybody else in the business, I think, got no sleep for 3 days when Heartbleed came out, because it was very exciting, very important, and not very difficult. So I made a bunch of demonstrations and projects for my students, and the thing I made that I thought was kind of fun was a malicious HTTPS server where you connect to it from a device and it will steal the RAM off the client. So you could steal RAM off Android cell phones that went to this page, which was pretty awesome. People mostly think about Heartbleed stealing secrets from the server, but it also lets you steal secrets from the client. But anyway, the most important thing about Heartbleed was to know what secrets were available on the server. And this is why everyone said, in principle, you can get some random data from the RAM of a server that you're not supposed to see, but in practice, how much does that matter? And what they said from earlier theoretical analysis is that region of memory that you're getting chunks of data from is not very important. All you're going to get is like a partial copy of the web page we showed the last guy. You're not going to have any cryptographic secrets in there or anything. So to test that, Cloudflare put up a real server able to handle millions of requests and said, okay, everybody try to steal the private key off this server and see if you could. And within about 8 or 16 hours, somebody did manage to steal the private key off the server. And so everybody was trying, and I was trying, and all my students were trying, we were running various scripts trying to steal that private key. And my students were not the first ones to get it, but one of them was like the 5th one to get it. Now, what we did not know is after the first guy got it, then he had seen it in his page and how there were a bunch of real and fake keys easily obtainable in RAM. So after the first guy found it, it dropped in difficulty very much. But we didn't know that at that time. So he got something that looked like a key. I tweeted it, and he got the job immediately. I immediately got a tweet from one of our local industries saying, I want to hire that guy right now. Because this is what you need to do to get a job in security. You want to show that you really care. You're really reading the news. You're really trying the latest attack. You know, that's better than winning a capture the flag competition or something, is showing that you're participating in the real competition of the world, figuring out what the latest vulnerability is and how to exploit it. And so then I learned from Joe McCrae. He taught a con, he gave a video on exploit development for mere mortals. And exploit development is that leech stuff, all in the binary, the debugger, that the whole DEF CON capture the flag is about. And I thought it was all pretty arcane and difficult, but it's not that difficult. And kind of saw Joe McCrae got me started, and I was able to go through this book and make a class where people learn to do all these binary exploits. It's a little strange at first, but it's not that hard, and there's actually a sort of cookie cutter step-by-step process to go from a crash in the machine to taking over the machine. And about a month ago, there's a product at Stanford that will in fact automatically develop exploits without access to the source code if the server will restart like 8,000 times for being crashed. They can actually use AI to do it. So you run a server. This stuff is C and it's compiled, so it's running a server. You can send up a message and it will reply back with the message. And of course, the vulnerability is the simplest one, a buffer overflow. So you have a buffer that sets aside 1,024 bytes, and you put in whatever the user types in, but it can be longer than 1,024 bytes, and you don't prevent that. So the result is, if you just send it 1,500 bytes, you make a simple Python program, they'll send 1,100 bytes here. If you send that in, the server crashes with a segmentation fault, which tells you that you now have a denial of service attack. You can shut down the server, and the point of exploit development is to go from denial of service to remote code execution. So what you do is instead of sending 1,100 A's, you send 1,000 A's, and then you send some non-repeating pattern. I just said 0001, 02, 03, so I can tell which bytes caused it to crash. And when you send that up to the server, it causes it to crash, and if you run it in a debugger, it will show you what the instruction pointer was when it died, and this is ASCII, and it's always backwards because Intel is cruel and it's little endian just to give us all headaches. So this is 1819. So in that string, the 1819 is one in the instruction pointer, and now I can control the execution on the machine because I can control the address of the next instruction. So all I have to do is inject some code and then run it. Now that shellcoder's handbook tells you how to write your own code in assembly, but I'm too lazy for that. I just use Metasploit. MSS Venom will make every attack you can want. It'll put it in any language you like. It'll even put it in Python for you. So you can just copy that Python code and put it right in your script. So you construct the exploit, you send it up, and pause with a breakpoint after you send it up, and you will see how this works. Here's the stack. Now, when you have a main sub-main routine in C and you call a subroutine, in order to go into the subroutine, it has to create another stack frame. It pushes on the stack the current instruction pointer, so it knows what to return to, and then it makes a new stack frame above it, which has all the variables local to that subroutine. So this is where the stack frame starts at the extended stack pointer, and it extends here. That's why I've highlighted this much. That is the saved return pointer, which is why it's going to return and execute this A, B, C, D. Now those are letters I put there just to show that I can hit it. But this is what I fed in. A whole bunch of A's, then a whole bunch of 90s, which is an op sled. These are no operation. It just means that if I can jump to any of these 90s, it will do nothing, 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 and then the egg. This is the egg that I got from Metasploit that does my attack. And this one I think just opens a listening port so you can remote control the machine. So this is what you do. You feed it up and pause it right after the overflow has occurred, but before it crashes. Now I can see I control this. This is A, B, C, D. And what I want to do is choose an address here that will point back in the NOP sled, anywhere up here. And if I do, I will take over the machine. So that's why you have to go in steps, but it's not too difficult. And if you send in the right stuff, you will then have a listening shell. After the server is running, I've fed in as output of that script. Now it's listening on port 4444, and anybody connecting to that port can control the machine. Because instead of continuing to run this script and replying back the data I sent up, it has fallen off of that track and run my egg from Metasploit, which started this listening process. So that's exploit development. And going through that made things a lot better. It was the step forward. So what I did is I gave them one where they go through that step by step with all the instructions. Then they have a local server with the source code that they have to take over, and then a local server without the source code, and now they start taking over real servers. Because you can get cloud servers so cheap, I just get them at DigitalOcean for $5 each. Now I have about 10 of them. They're running just for people to hack into. And that has turned out to be very useful to me in many ways. So they had to give over that shell, and they end up on these winners pages, and that's what you people are going to be doing. Probably starting in about 10 minutes. So I made a series of vulnerable servers. And this one is kind of fun. Imagemagick is the brand new vulnerability, only came out about 2 weeks ago. A huge number of Linux libraries are vulnerable. And I think I'll just stop and show you this one. I'll show it to you a little bit later. But the point of this one is it's very easy to do. And you get on these winners pages. And I think what I'm going to do now is get you people started doing this stuff. So what I want you to do is connect to some kind of internet and go to this page, samsclass.info. That's where everything is. That's where all my classes are. And as you see, the workshop is right here at the top. And the point is, you can now try some attacks. Now there are, these first three are using the most dangerous vulnerability in the world. And one thing, security can be confusing, but one thing that is not confusing is the most dangerous exploit in the world. OWASP has told us for years, code injection is the most dangerous exploit in the world. More than 95% of all stolen data came from this one problem. If you only know one thing about security, this should be it. There's no contest. Because not only is it extremely dangerous, it's extremely easy. You do not need to be a genius to exploit it. So this is one you'll see in a lot of capture the flag competitions and everything else. And the easiest way to create a vulnerable website here is to have two languages that work together, where you take something that came from the user and you build a command line out of it. That's how you create this kind of problem. So the simplest one is the ping form. We start with that one. And so if you go here, you have a form that will ping a server. So if you put in here google.com and send pings, it will ping google.com. So that's pretty boring. But the point is, the way it did it was actually by taking the data from me and putting it in a bash command line. Ping whatever came from me. So you can just write, you can put two bash commands on the same line if you separate them by semicolons. So if I ping google.com /ls, it will do the pings and then do an ls, listing all the files on my server. You can put anything you want there. So the challenge here is, take over this thing, put your name in this file. I'm running a cron job that will harvest the contents of that file and put you on the winners page. When you figure out how to get in that file, you'll appear here. Somebody already did it earlier today. This is me testing it in the morning. I moved the old winners. 61 people did this at CactusCon a few weeks ago. So what I say is start with that one. Let me make sure everybody's on the road, and then go on here. I'll just show you the next one, and I'll come back and demonstrate Imagemagick after I see people moving here. So that's the easiest one. The next one is a little harder. So here you can put in your name. If you put in Sam, it says Sam, executing -shell command. Okay, it prints your name, Sam, and then it executes another command. Now this one here is kind of interesting, and I think I have the source code for it down here. Yeah, okay. This is the simplest kind of buffer overflow. Now the last one was simple command injection, where the text you type goes right in a line of command. But this one here, that's the whole source code of it. This is C buffer overflows, but this is the simple kind of buffer overflow, and by the way, probably the most dangerous, because most of the defenses against buffer overflows, like canaries and address space layout randomization, will not save you from this mistake. This is actually quite difficult to stop. So I have a main program here that asks you for your name and puts it in a variable that's 200 characters long. Then it calls a subroutine called BO, and in BO, it puts it in buffers that are only 40 characters long. And the character is here and the buffer is here. This is going to be a command. This is going to be your name. So it puts your name in there, copies the command into the C register, the name into the buffer register, and then it says, goodbye person executing command. Now the point of this is, it's going to print your name, and then it's going to execute this command, which is going to be uname -a, which is a harmless Linux command. It just tells you what version of Linux you're running. But if you look at how these things are laid out in memory, you can see what's going to happen here. If I go back to this one, and I put in Sam and execute it, the Sam, the name went here, BFFFFBE0, and the command went here at C08. Now you may not be so good at your hex, but this is just 40 characters down, or 48 characters down, not much more. The name is stored in a variable, and the command comes after it. So if the name gets too long, it just leaks into the other variable. So I saved one here that should work. That is 42 characters long. And if you do that, it now executes ls, because the first 40 characters of the name went in the name field, and the next 2 leaked into the next variable, which contained a command. So now you can execute commands by just putting them in. There is, however, a dirty trick here. So I want to do an ls -l. And if you try it, maybe you already know what's going to happen here. I'm just going to get an ls. Now the reason I just got an ls is because the space ends the string. Because the web form interprets a space as the end of this variable and the start of the next variable, so it only interprets this to go in the variable. So you have to figure out how to insert a space without using a space character, which is not impossible, and I have a clue here down. So the challenges on this one are, first, figure out how to do a long list, and have a link here to a website where somebody figured out another way to put spaces in, and then get on the Hall of Fame. Again, put your name in this file, and you'll appear on the winners here. So let's see if anybody's there yet. You just got there?
I think I should be there in minutes.
Yeah, it takes 1 minute, and then you'll appear. Not yet. But anyway, so give it a try. So anyway, I'd like you to start doing these things. I'm going to go around and make people start it. I'm going to demonstrate this one and this one later. If this is all way too easy for you, go down to the real binary stuff down here. Most people don't go there, but if you already know anything about GDB, you might want to start doing them. I just want to go around and make sure everyone's at least doing the first one. And then after I see that people are on the road, then I'll demonstrate the Imagemagick one and the SQL injection. So try to find a place or a computer to work with. It's not much fun if you're not doing it. If anybody's stuck, let me know. And you can be able to team up with somebody if you don't have a computer. It's better to have 2 people working together. Extra what? No, I don't have any. But you don't need one. You can do this on anything, Windows or anything. Yeah, these are just web ones. That's why I didn't bring them. I was going to bring them, but the only need Kali for the ones 5 and above. The first 4 you can do on any machine with even a cell phone. Yeah, the first 4 you can do without Kali. Good. Yeah, there's the access code. We can put all this stuff up so you can see it. There's how to get on the internet. And here's the URL. There. That's all you should need to get to that page. We should see some winners up there. The first 4 you can do on anything that reaches the internet. An iPad would work, cell phone would work. Good. Oh yeah, this will be up there forever. What'll happen is after today, it'll move on to old classes. But it's a top link. I'll leave them up forever. Yeah, yeah. Good. Yeah, if you can't do it now, this is all going to stay up. Find a spot. What's that? Yeah, might be able to steal a chair from back there. No, they go to the walls. There's outlets. There's outlets in the front? Maybe not. There's outlets here. Here. There's some outlets up there. And there's more outlets here. You guys can sit here. I don't need to sit down. Oh, for all, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, it's not open, but it'll open a page. So connect to it and then open your browser, and you'll have to log in with this access code. Yeah. Otherwise, they're going to try and charge you $15 or something. Good. Good. Hey there. You're a judge? For what? Oh, is this for the CTF? Yeah, I'm not in that one. Is these three guys up there? Go ahead. I'm teaching a different. Yeah. No, I don't think I do. But you can use anything for this. Anything that has a browser. Ah.
So if I harden, I do have VMware.
Ah.
Windows locks itself so I'm hardening it.
Oh, well.
Now I'm 10 hours hardening it.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't have one with me. Yeah. Yeah, that's an issue, I guess. I didn't think of that. I never bring a machine with anything important on it to these places.
Discs.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's a good idea. I've never been that worried. When I go to a hacker conference, I bring along things to use. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you haven't got a computer, try teaming up with somebody with one that has one. Yeah, well, go around and find somebody. It's no fun if I can't do it. Yeah. Yeah, but it's no fun if you haven't got a computer to use. Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. Digital stuff. Yeah. Yeah, well, find somebody to let you work along with them. Easiest way to do it. Besides, that way you make a friend. A bunch of people out here. Good. Yeah. Right, so that's LS. So all this was just, go back to the, guys, that's LS, right, you got LS. But you can't put the space minus L. So if you scroll down a bit, there's a hint how to do that. Try that. This is a guide. The LS minus L did not work. It's LS minus L would show you extra data, like the times. Yeah, and you did? Oh, how'd you, with just a space? Oh, backslash. Oh, the backslash, oh, that's very clever. I'm surprised that worked. Well, good for you. I had a much more complicated solution, but that's fine, it's working. Then keep going. This often happens, by the way. It'd be a lot of the SQL injection one. No, you're just ahead of me, that's fine. People are often ahead of me. I'm not doing this because I'm the smartest guy in the room, far from it. Yeah, he did it with a more complicated trick. But that's good as the backslash works, I didn't think of that. Oh boy, is that the winners page or is that the old winners? That many people already won? Neat. Well, good. I'm glad to see it. Then you folks are moving right along. Let me check that out. Well, from what I just saw back there, pardon me, I think we got some winners. I see. Good. So a bunch of you got this one. Looks like about 10 people. Let's see how many people got the next one. That's probably this one. Nobody. That doesn't seem right. Okay. Well, that's progress. Okay. I'll wait a few minutes before I go on. Let me get power for my laptop here, though. Otherwise, it'll create a problem. There we go. All right. I'll move this one over. Put it over there. Yeah, you can have a little table for that thing if you want. All right. See if I got anybody on the second one yet. Who's doing the second one? Some people should be. No. Did you get onto the second one? Try the second one. Yeah. Does it work?
This works. That works.
Oh, well, good.
But this does not seem to work.
Echoing something into that file?
Well, I don't want to echo something into this file.
No, you won't be able to, one of the permissions.
Okay, good. I should be able to.
Uh-huh. Yes, you should. Yeah, but
This did not.
try creating the directory first.
Oh, you think.
Yeah, I think the directory, someone might have deleted the directory.
Okay.
That's what happened to me earlier this morning. So make the dir temp buffo. Spaces are not a problem, huh? I thought they would be.
Not if you put single quotes in it.
Oh, single quotes.
I've wrapped it in a single quote.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
It's
Good.
quite happy to work.
Good, good. Glad to see it. Good. I learned two new tricks.
Complicated, but I could make this a complicated.
Oh no, I'm glad to see it. So, executing. Maybe just a semicolon there. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was just explaining.
What I've used before.
There we go.
There. Good. What's that? Oh, they could be. I think it should work now. I think I just saw him do it. Let me see if that's going to. Yes. Let me see if I think I should have a winner up here now. If not within a minute. Yeah. What's up? Print F. I think you need a greater than to send it into that file. It won't. Yeah, greater than is what output redirects into that file. Yeah. Good. You're on the road, and then this should upload a few names within. Ah, there we go. All right. Good. So it is possible. We have the first winner here. Good. All right. And one thing that happened to some people is the directory you need has been deleted, and you had to create it with make dir. I've seen a lot of new solutions to the space. I did it with $ifs. He did it with backslashes. He did it by putting a quote at the start. This happens to me a lot, that the attackers have clever tricks that I don't know about. In fact, I think I'm just going to introduce the next ones because I think you're on the road. So there's two more things to show you, and they're kind of fun. All right, let me get back to here. Okay, so Imagemagick. What I did here, the Imagemagick library lets you do graphics manipulations. It's open source, it's very common in Linux-based applications, and it turns out to have an enormous flaw. It has command injection vulnerability. Of course, that's why I'm doing it. That's why I love these. These are so easy. You don't need to be complicated to fix them. So this is a normal bulletin board you might have, where you upload an image and it makes a thumbnail size of the image. So it uses Imagemagick to resize the image to a standard size. So the intended use of this is you choose a file, and I put a picture of a flag on my desktop just to have a, yeah, here's a flag. Then you upload that image. And unlike a real bulletin board, I made it so you can see exactly what it's doing here. So the first thing it does is it notices the file exists and removes the old one. Then it takes this file and removes the old thumbnail file. Now it executes this command, convert thumbnail to picture 300 by 300 from whatever came in to this thing ending in ping. So it'll create the thumbnail, and then it'll put the thumbnail down there, and if you click the thumbnail, you see your image. So this is something any blog that lets you have a profile picture, any kind of app that uses pictures in any way is likely to use this library. And the thing about this library is you can make an exploit that is so simple it will make you sick. If I open, here's my exploit file. You just have to name it any kind of image like JPEG will do. And I'm going to open it in a text editor. There we go. That is my exploit. Instead of having an image in that JPEG file, it just has text. And it only needs 4 lines of text. And what's going on here is you can put a background color on your page. And you can specify it in this language, and you can download the content for the background color from a website. And the way it implements it in the Imagemagick library is it just builds a bash command line with curl followed by whatever you put here. It's like the ping 8888 page that you just all exploited. Whatever is in here is just added to a command line. It's probably dash, not bash. But anyway, the point is there's something funny about these quotes that kind of stop me, but the point is this is going to load a HTTPS URL, which will not resolve. Then it's going to have ls minus LA here. So when I execute that, when I run that image up and it tries to make a thumbnail of it, that image is called exploit.jpg. So if I just go back and I put up that image, oops, not that one, this one. All right. And then upload it. It's going to execute that command, and there's the ls minus L. And by the way, Chrome is really nice for this kind of hacking, because if you do the page source, it's formatted correctly and it's live. So now I can run ls minus L, so you can run anything. The only point is, this is something that I found very many times. When a new exploit comes out, the first guy has some version of it that works, and it turns out not to be the most efficient or simplest version. I was sort of confused by this nonsense. Single quote, double quote, ls, then a double quote, then the minus L. Breaking up the ls minus L, that kind of gave me a headache. And what I found was I could just put all the ls minus L on this side of that quote, and it worked. And then I can just stack up commands there, and it works. So it's very often the case that the original exploit developer didn't find the simplest path. They found something that proved the point, and then they were done. But anyway, so just like before, you can exploit this server, and you have the same kind of challenge. Let me find it. Yeah. So your challenge is put your name in that file, and when you do, you'll appear on yet another winners page. Here, not no winners today, but they're old winners. You just have to make a carefully crafted attack file. You can insert shell commands into it. Now, this stuff is extremely dangerous, but it's not extremely common to have this kind of command injection vulnerability. It does happen, and it makes a lot of headlines when it happens, but the thing that is much more common is SQL injection, where you still can execute commands on the server, but they're much more restricted than just executing bash shell commands. And so to do that one in the same spirit, you have the fourth one here. This is SQL injection. Now what I did was take an old SQL injection training product called SQLOL, I think from Spiderwave or something. And so this is a database. And if you've never done databases, this is how they work. They're very simple. A database is just a group of tables connected together in a larger object that stores the information. This table has this database contains 2 tables. database is named SQLOL, has a table called users and a table called SSN. This has names and SSNs for some people. This has names and a field called isAdmin that tells you whether the administrator or not. That's it. That's all the data there is in the database. But the point is, it has valuable data in the form of these social security numbers that I'm going to steal. So, all right, now you can run a SQL select query. This is the language SQL. And I put this up here. If you've never used SQL as a language, this is an easy way to learn it. Now, nobody with any sense would ever let you do this. Type raw select queries into the table. This means you can do anything in that database you want to. So by the way, you can totally erase the fields, wipe out the tables. So let me start with reset. This will put it back to its standard state, which you have to do pretty often because this thing is absurdly vulnerable. But now you can do simple select. So this will select star from SQLOL users. That'll tell me everything in that table. All the information in that table. And here's some other ones to try. This one, for example, will tell me all the information it can find in that table where the name is herpderper. So you can put a condition there to limit who you're talking about, and that'll give me the information from this guy. Now, if I put in, by the way, let me point out one more thing here. I put out the actual SQL command that's created here, which you typed in. So select star from SQL where name equals herpderper. Now remember the ping form. The reason that thing was so dangerous is because you could put in semicolons and have more commands that had nothing to do with what the programmer intended. This has the same problem. I have an apostrophe here that is under my control, and that's not good. So if I put in O'Neill here, then I get an error message. Now, when you see a SQL syntax error, this means it's the kiss of death. It means I can control your machine because I am able to put in code that ends up on that side of an apostrophe. This is where commands go. I can now inject commands into the server by using unmatched apostrophes, and this is incredibly stupid. Now, the point of a command line command like this is it's something like an interactive shell terminal where a human is typing in commands. And those commands will include active things like select and from, and they're going to include passive things like data, like the name of the person, and they're all in one line because a human is typing them in a line. There is no reason for a program to work this way. This is the fundamental error in all these vulnerable pages I've shown you, is they take data that came from the user and they put it in a line with active code, and then they try to parse it, guessing what part of it is active and what part of it is passive. That is just stupid. Anything that comes from the user should go into a data object, which cannot be misunderstood as a code object, and then compared to the data you harvest. So all the active code should be written by the programmer, and anything that came from the user should be trapped in a data structure that doesn't let it be misinterpreted as code. But it is easier to write things this way, and a lot of people make this mistake. So this is how you can take over the box. There's a bunch down here to try, but the more fun is to go down here to usernames. This is what you might really see on a website. Nobody would let you have a select query you can type in the whole thing. What they'll have is where you put in your name and you're trying to log in or query a profile of somebody or something. So you put in a name and you submit, and it will tell you about that person. So if you look for herpderper, you'll get the name herpderper. We found this guy in the database. But now, if you put an apostrophe in his name and submit that, now you get an error. So this means this is exactly like everything I'm showing you so far. Now I have a denial of service exploit. I'm able to make it crash and accomplish nothing. What I don't have is an exploit that lets me steal data. I have to write something more careful. And I have a few examples here. And I'm just going to start you on the easy ones. So here's the simplest one. This is the one that finds the names of the databases. What you do is you don't just inject one apostrophe because it'll crash. You inject an even number of apostrophes. And you carefully make a condition here that is always true. A equals A with a missing apostrophe at the end. So I've now put in 1, 2, 3, 4 apostrophes. So instead of creating something that cannot be understood, I've created a valid command that it does not have the result that the programmer wanted it to have. And now, that's what I've done. I select username from users, where username like union select table schema, where I add another table in there take the information from there, call it username, and add it to the list of usernames. And now, where I was supposed to see one person's username, I see a list of all the databases on the server. And so that one tells you the list of databases that exist. I can see there's an interesting one called SQLOL. If I want to see the tables in the SQLOL database, I just continue in the same vein with this one. And now the tables are SSN and users. The SSN table looks like something interesting. So to find the columns in the SSN table, I use this one. And so the columns in the SSN table are name and SSN. And now if I want to steal the data, now that I know where it is, I can just build something that will add the name and the SSN together with a colon in a handy format. And now I get all the names and social security numbers out of the table, and this is how Anonymous hacked everybody and how everybody hacks everybody. All you have to do is run, you can use a tool like Havij that does this automatically, or SQL Map, but it's best to learn how to do it yourself so you understand how it works. I can now get anything out of that table, but I can do much more. Anyway, here's one thing you can do. You can deface my website.
Very few people say that.
Yeah, so here, I think I can do it right now. Union select. Yeah, union select. There we are. Let's try this one. Union select. Hi. Literal text into out file. var www.html layer1.htm. I think that'll do. And then a pound to terminate it. This might work. Whenever I'm doing this kind of stuff, you always put it in a clipboard because you very often find you've missed an apostrophe or a comma or something irritating. Okay, it did not crash. Since it did not crash, I believe it put this text into that file, and that means I'll have a new file on my server called l1.html. Let's see if that's true. l1.html, and up here, not in that folder. Yep, okay. So that's how you deface my server. So, with these examples to guide you, you should be able to get on the Hall of Fame. Here come the challenges. Down here, you can dump out the password file and then put your name in those files and you'll end up on another Hall of Fame. Now, I put this up and invited the whole world to hack me. And these guys hacked way beyond what I thought they could do because I learned a lot from them. And I had to first learn how to put up better logging. I had to turn on Apache forensic logging, which I did not know about, to track this because they were uploading PHP shells and executing commands. And if you do that, it doesn't show up in the bash history log. It doesn't show up anywhere unless you have forensic logging on your HTML. And after I found out how to log it, they kept on hacking my page that I thought was unhackable. Then he put his name on it, defaced it. I said, did I change it? He'd do it again. This was very educational for me. So I appreciate when people find good ways to hack me. And in fact, I think I'll show you one more thing from my slide deck. In my classes, my students are invited to hack me. The whole world, by the way, is invited to hack me, like all of you. If anybody wants to hack me, have at it. I have a vulnerability disclosure policy, which everybody else should have, but unfortunately not enough of them do. Here. I found one of these from BugCrowd that is not baffling to read. All you have to do is make a reasonable effort not to hurt anybody, like my students or anything, and then let me know and give me a chance to fix it, and then I will not prosecute you and I'll put you on the Hall of Fame. So a lot of people have ended up on the Hall of Fame from like Palestinian activists, members of Anonymous, and my students. But the one student that did this more than anybody else was the social engineer. As I think we're all getting used to saying social engineering is the most dangerous attack. So I got these. Yeah, here's various people owned me. This is the one I wanted to show you. This guy got in my Twitter account 3 times, my email account 4 times, and I forget what, he got my login password. So let me get this one, tinyurl.com, samspw, that's what I want. This guy is the most dangerous student I've had.
Social engineering?
Always social engineering. He does technical stuff too, but social engineering is far more powerful.
You need to stop clicking on links.
So, okay, here's what he did. He snuck up behind me in the lab and he recorded me logging in and got my password with his cell phone, and I never saw it. All I knew was I was working in a lab, and then he went out, took guys in the hallway, snicker, snicker, snicker. They wouldn't tell me what was going on for about a week, but he totally got my password. And the damnedest thing is, I don't know how to stop this. By the way, he is so smooth. It's all in how you act. I would be lecturing like this in class, typing on the machine. I walk over here, he walks up and puts a tweet on my Twitter account, right in front of everybody. Nobody says a thing. I find out tomorrow, I hacked you again. What? You hacked me again? And I don't know how to defend myself from that, but he's so smooth, nobody questions him. Anyway, this is very effective. So anyway, go ahead and do some more of those challenges. Let me go around and see if I can help anybody. You should be able to do the SQL injections and so on. I should see more winners, like see who's on Imagemagick by now. Nobody yet. But there's a few more things to try. Let me just go around and see how people are doing. Hey there, what's up?
My name
Good.
to the winners, but I can't see it on HTML, so I'm wondering if
Well, you wonder if you're in the right file. What's the name of the file you went to?
winners.text under text.
Winners.txt. There's no text. I think it's just winners. Get rid of the .txt.
Oh, okay.
That'll do it.
All right.
Good. 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 It takes 1 minute for you to show up there, even if you do it right. Because I'm running a cron job that harvests that file and puts it up there. By the way, when the whole room of people is doing it, it's possible you put your name there and someone else puts their name on top of it. But I don't see that happening too much here, but it could happen. Yeah, it could happen. But you might have to do it 2 or 3 times. And like I say, sometimes people delete the directory and you have to recreate the directory, you know, the usual stuff. That's nice of you, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yes, that happens all the time. In fact, they hacked my website. Essentially, I've learned how this works. If you have PHP scripts anywhere on your site that do anything, you're probably vulnerable. And I've gotten hacked so many. What's that? What is it? Yeah, just send it. What's the name of it? Yeah. But also PHP, even elsewhere. I have PHP comment files, and there's a PHP / headlines. I got hacked twice through that. It is very easy to make a mistake in PHP. It's famous for this, and I didn't know how true it was until I started running real websites, and I'm volunteering places, and you know, this one, I have people that frustrate me. They'll put up a brand new like Windows Server box. It's there, hack into it. I say, dude, you can't hack into that. That's like a new car. You got to have one you've actually used for a while. Now there's a bunch of holes. It's not that it's vulnerable right out of the box. It's vulnerable after a year or two when you put up scripts and done this and done that, and somebody's quit and you don't really know what they did, and pretty soon there's some crap up there. Yeah. You got on? Oh, good. That should work. Good, good. Yeah, that should work.
But it never showed, so what I'm thinking is everybody else is doing that. So,
Possibly, but you can just follow with another semicolon and do cat.
I suggested that he threw a chmod of 700, but I don't know if the script will then read it as it.
You can just try it and see. You know, another thing that someone did was just put a backslash before the spaces. That works too. Which surprised me. I've actually backslash before each space. No, it's not the same, but it works. It makes it much easier to read your code. Yeah. Yeah. I know, I didn't think that would work. I thought the web... I know. And another guy told me he put a quote someplace, and it's interpreting it all after that. But I don't quite know where you put the quote. Yeah, the problem there is you're doing a dash shell, which is not exactly the same as a bash shell. But try backslashing the spaces, that'll make it easier. What else people have got up to? Looks like you made it on something. Extra quote at the end there. An extra quote at the end there, is that right? I see. What's that extra apostrophe at the end? Yeah, I'm not. I think that might not be work. It might be a problem. You could also put a semi. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I guess it's all right then. Yeah. You. By the way, you can also echo the contents of the file. Do ls minus l. You can do as many commands as you want. So you can change it and then look at it, see if it changed. Yeah. You got on? Ah, good, good. Refresh some of my winters up here. Let's see how far people are getting. So, see if anybody did this one yet. Oh, there we go. Some people have done the Imagemagick one. Here's the ping one. Good, a lot of people did the ping one. There's the buffer overflow. Ah, there we go. Quite a few people got on that one. How about the SQL injection ones? Don't need that. Don't need that anymore. No winners yet. But I imagine they're coming. I'm good. I'm glad to see people moving ahead. Good. Yep. Let's see. You might not be in the right folder. Oh, there, you did get a file up there. Good, okay. That's fine. That showed up, right? Yeah, that's not how you get on that page, though. You have to put it in that special file, temp something winners. You can deface the server, and that's one challenge. But getting in the winners page requires you to put it in a different file. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Good. Good. There. Get on there. I'd give it a shot. Should be able to at least do the first ones. Did you do the Fring one? That's it. Oh yeah, well, the ping one's the easiest. The first one. Might be able to make that one work. Yeah. Good. But get somebody to work with you too, that's the other thing. Yeah. Get on there yet? SQL injection, not in there yet? Oh, okay. Let's see. Guess not. Okay. It might be taking time. It takes 1 minute. It's a cron job. Okay. So 1 or 2 seconds after each minute, it uploads the names. Okay. Pretty much, yeah. Well, this is real simple stuff, but the idea is it's been easy to learn. Yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's it. This is why, there's some elite people that might be down in the binary stuff, which I'll probably talk a little bit about, but most people are happy to just learn command injection. So easy and so important. Yeah. That's, I think, that's why I look at CTFs. I mean, that's how you learn to make it fun. Yeah. You don't. Well, that's the idea. These just be so easy that anybody can do them, and then a little harder. And that means everybody will make a few steps forward. That's really hard. I mean, the military's been doing this since before computers. You keep them in a locked room, you guard the door so nobody's allowed in there, you paint over all the windows, That's the kind of stuff you got to do.
That's the only way you can.
Yeah. That's right.
You want to get a transfer? Okay, fine. We'll grip it, but we also have our
That's why they have all that before computers. So what do you do when the wrong person is physically in the room? That's right. They are. And really, that's okay. You have children, and the children have no security sense, so the parents watch out for them. And in a sense, that's what all of us are. But people are out there, they just want to use their phone and go to their parties, and they're counting on us to protect them. That's how it works. That's really how it works in the military, right? All the rest of it, like, yeah, some guy came with a gun to kill me, I'd be screwed. I have no clue what to do. But I count on those guys that learn that stuff and protect me from them because I'm helpless. Yeah. If somebody wanted to shoot me, I'd be fucked, right? But there are guys that totally could handle that. Not me.
and the children, when you look at the children from the
Yeah.
devices on the internet.
Yeah, or let creepy people in your backyard, you protect them. They got no sense and they're vulnerable, so you protect them outside. You add layers of defense outside them.
What's your background?
Oh, I don't know. I went to college, learned physics, did that for a while, then I wandered off, did other things for a while. Eventually I worked in financial work for the Federal Trade Commission, refunding money to people that had it stolen from them in pyramid schemes. And it was. Though there were a ton of them, the Sprint Friend and Family was a huge one. And the Sprint Friends and Family was the only pyramid scheme where instead of busting it, we forced them to pay it out. Our entire vault was full of pay cards, and we mailed it to all the people because they promised that if you got your family in, you'd get something for each one of them and each one of their downlines until it added up to too much money. And the FTC settled and said, we will not punish you for this if you actually pay out all those cards you owe. And we had a vault full like 50,000 cards, and we mailed all these cards to everybody for their payment of that. That was Sprint, Friends and Family. It was a pyramid scheme, but there was a whole bunch of others. One of the ones was a thing called Fortuna Alliance in New Zealand, and there's one woman that I talked with for a year. She talked 300 friends and family to joining this thing, and they all thought they were going to make all this money.
Have you ever heard of
Try West? I don't think so, but it's another one.
But they were from New Zealand.
Yeah. I heard that when the pyramid scammers went to, I think, Malaysia, they stole half the wealth of the whole country because nobody had ever seen this stuff before. And they just went through the country and everybody bought into it because, at first it sounds great. That's right. You'll get 10% every week. You'll be rich by the end of the year. And they'll say, wow, that sounds good. They're unaware of, don't think when you get burned, you wise up. Like backups, right? You get hit by CryptoLocker. They said, why didn't you back up your shit? I said, well, I had to lose my thesis 6 times before I learned to back up. You have to get burned a few times before you wise up. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, hey there. Good, how you doing? Oh, that thing, the one they kept throwing me out of, yeah. I didn't remember that. That's good. Yeah. That was educational in a few ways. Well, that's a totally fake program down there, I suppose. They don't have any actual classes or teachers. They just claim to have like the number 3 program in the world. It is. There's a lot of that in this business. There's a lot of people that just totally lie. Hey, what's up with you?
I have a very
Yeah,
small
let's see.
question. I tried an example like the ones you had where
Good.
I added a bunch of letters before ls, and it seems to not work the same way unless they're all ls.
It's executing a command. Let me see what you fed in. Did you go there? Okay.
So I
You fed in
took
all
this
this jazz. Yeah, I think it's just not long enough. It's all just your name. It has to be 40 characters and then the command.
Oh, okay. So
The first 40 are just treated as the name. The last 2 are treated as the command.
I can do something like
Yeah, just make it really long. See what that does. There. Now it executed this command ls. So whatever you did there, you need to make it about 8 characters short. Just turn off some of them. Yep, just try that, see what happens. Yeah, it might be. I don't know, you count 8 very carefully. There, that did the else. There you are, you're on the road. Good. And now, if you don't feel like changing, you can just put a semicolon after this and put more commands.
okay.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah, I was playing with IFS and I couldn't get it to work, so
But somebody pointed out you can use a backslash space and that works.
like save the backspace works.
Yeah, backslash before the space works, which I did not think it would work.
Yeah.
Try that. Yeah, no, it's not ls minus L. The back, that's just an ls. Is it ls backslash, not a quote, the backslash. Yeah, ls backslash space minus L. But get rid of the quotes. I see some quotes in there. Try that. Yeah, that works. Even easier, yeah. Good. You can. I didn't think the browser would accept it, but it seems to. Yeah. I often learn from the students. Yeah.
You remember the talk that you had a couple of years back at DevCon with the cookies?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was looking at some of that, and I was thinking, like recently, like
Did they fix it? I don't know. I haven't paid attention. They normally don't care. Maybe they finally upgraded to something else because it's actually pretty annoying, but they have other layers of defenses, like your token times out after 10 minutes. So that limits the damage to some extent, but that's not very good. Yeah. Yeah. After 10 seconds. That's right. It doesn't expire after 10 minutes, so that limits the damage. But still, it's kind of unprofessional. When you log out, it auto-invalidate the tokens. But nobody else seems to care about this. But one thing, there's a lot of vulnerabilities I find that companies don't care about, and this is one of them. Yeah. 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 Sure, sure. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have like a handshake where it calculates some kind of token that is never used again. This storing one cookie and just using it forever is for the birds. But it's the easiest way to make it so people don't have to keep logging in on their phone. So, like everything, it's done for convenience, and it's only till they get humiliated that they have to up their security. Using HTTPS is better, but suppose they steal your phone. They've got the cookie, they're in your account. And you can't do a damn thing about it. That's what really annoys me. You can't invalidate the cookie. You can't go on the website. Now, a few people let you do that. Like if you go to like Twitter, it'll say you've authorized these 10 other things. You can deauthorize it. They need to at least put that on the site. But that's what the logout button should do. It should just nuke all the old cookies. What do they think it should do? I know. That's why, it's just rude, You authorize your phone, and then how long is it authorized? Forever. And this is not right.
I mean, the step going forward to something like this would be like,
Yeah, or whatever's in that cookie should just be something that can be canceled on the server side. All it's doing is sending that and looking that up in a database on the server side. You should just be able to delete that server record. Now, it will not be recognized as a valid token anymore. But I'm sure there's different ways to do it in different languages. I'm not enough of a developer to know exactly what command they use, but there's got to be a way. Just stop interpreting it as valid. Yeah, we can run around and see what people are up to. Glad to see you. Yeah. So, see if anybody else is still working on it. Oh, good. Oh, the Imagemagick. Did you get in? Oh, well, feel free. That's always possible. Yeah. Good. Yeah. Let's see how many winners I got. There's SQL. No winners of SQL. Huh. Oh, people got the hard one. Okay. Oh, well, that's not so bad then. All right. I think, no, those are from old. Those are from past. Nobody today. Oh, that's rude. Nobody made it on SQL. Let's see how the other one's doing. How about Imagemagick? Several people made it on the Imagemagick anyway. Well, you go. You never know how far people are going to go. And if you go on, there's a bunch of binary ones at the bottom, but I don't think I got too many people who are likely to go that far today. Oh, good. All right. Make it into the ping or anything? Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's. Yeah, well, yeah, you can't make anybody do this. It has to be fun. Right. So that's why you want to be with somebody who can show you the green. Yeah. 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 Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but that only works with kernel exploits. But that's this came up last week because Dropbox announced that they're going to make a kernel module. Well, but I understand why they're doing it because you can have your whole OS on it and everything in Dropbox, but it means that they have total access to your phone. They can see all the other apps, they can see everything stored. So it's a huge jump forward in their responsibility, and I really don't think they're up to it. Even antivirus companies aren't up to it. I didn't know that. I knew one where they just turned off password authentication on the whole system for about 5 hours, so everybody could get in everybody's site. I don't know how many other times they screwed up, but yeah, well, even the antivirus companies that have always been in the kernel have been totally debunked as being complete morons, totally letting the whole world in. In the quarantine directory, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And Tavis Ormandy is the king. He totally humiliates those AV companies one after another. Holy crap. I mean, it was Enterprise McAfee puts the domain administrator password in a file where you can read it. It's just awesome stuff. Yeah. I remember TP links are fun that way. If you go to TP link, you can plug in a USB drive and share it, and the command to execute that just has a path you can change. So you can navigate right over to the system files and everything. Steal passwords. Yeah. That's good. Like I say, at last count I went to, 61 people got at least one of them. So I don't know how many got them here. Let's see. It'd be the first one or the second one would be the one where most people get in. This one probably. It looks like about 30. And maybe this one. Yeah, it looks like about 30 there too. So that's good. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the ping one. The ping one is really where most people start. Right, so here, you put in like google.com and it will ping it. Okay, now go back. Put in google.com /ls. It will execute the ls. You can just put commands one after another on a line, as long as you put semicolons between them. So now you can do anything you can do with Linux. So that's ls, and if you go back, there's a challenge. You have to put your stuff in a file, so it's the same as anything else. Use an echo command or something, you put your name in that file. And I would just keep adding commands. But that's, the only trick is a space will break it. But the easiest solution for that somebody found here is put a backslash before each space. And then you can just keep going. So try ls minus L. At the end of your ls, put a backslash space, and then a minus L. You didn't put in the backslash space. If you put in a normal space, it'll break it. You can try it, ls space minus L, you'll see. Backslash, then, the one that goes this way. I can't see it. The one that goes this way is backslash. And put that a space and then minus L. And you should get the dates and everything. And it looks like something's wrong. Go back, let me see what you sent in.
LS.
Backslash space minus L, or is it minus 1? I think well, I'm not sure. I can't see it. Well, I can do it up here. That's what I can do. I'm going to do it on the one I can see. I'll get out of that chair too. All right, so here. Yeah. Now let's try this. So we start with this thing, ls. And that gives me an ls. Now to get the minus L, backslash space minus L. Oh, didn't work. That's rude. All right. Well, let's try this. Somebody else told me. He said a quote will cause it to take it. Let's see what that does. No. All right. Then I'll do it the way I know how to do it. Is this one. That one works. Okay, that is the way I originally did it. This thing called $IFS is interfield separator, and it's a environment variable that stands for space. So you can put in spaces without putting in literal spaces. That's more cumbersome, but it does work. Although people here were succeeding with backslashes and stuff, now I don't know how they did it. Anyway, the other guy did it with quotes somehow, and I'm not quite sure. Oh, no, couldn't have put it there. Yeah.
It was funny with the manipulator.
Yeah.
I just stubbed my toe on last week. I didn't know that restructured text has the ability to source arbitrary files from anywhere, local file system, or local file system.
Yeah.
So I immediately started scraping GitHub for people who are parsing arbitrary restructured text. Thankfully, GitHub's Markdown library does the right thing.
Oh, good.
And disables that Boolean.
Good.
Because the first thing I was thinking is I use GitHub, and GitHub uses GitHub's Markdown.
Yeah.
And I was afraid that it would actually parse it and shell out to arbitrary files.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the most common vulnerability, but it's the most dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes up every now and then, and everybody just walks right through. Yeah. Good, good. Got to see people moving along. I might as well give you this stuff back. I don't think there's any more. They're all gone.
I've been recording so I can keep your audio here. I know she's got to spoken again, so
Okay, sure. Put it together, Javier. Yeah.
You guys playing playoff? Cross pollinate.